Wake-up call with Cold Omaha on Minnesota's Sports Radio, 105 The Ticket.
Welcome to the Minnesota Sports ESPYs, live from the Mills Fleet Farm Studios. I'm your host, Sam Ekstrom. Great, beautiful crowd sitting out here across from me. Tom Schreier looking dapper, Zach Wright looking great. They're on the red carpet right now, filing into the ballroom, wearing their designer duds. Tom, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
Zach, I've never seen you looking better.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll take it.
He always looks bad. Let's
take it.
Be honest about this.
We've got 8 awards to dole out this morning for one segment, for the next segment. Our first award to give away, the Best Breakthrough Athlete. The Best Breakthrough Athlete is defined by a player who emerges onto the scene and transforms his or her game to an elite level in front of our eyes. Tom, who do you feel like the contenders are for the Best Breakthrough Athlete?
Well, I truly believe, I'm trying to think across sports like Matt Dumba you could go with the Minnesota Wild, kind of the end of his season there. Teddy Bridgewater, again, we talked about the last 5 weeks for him. Andrew Wiggins being a guy who comes in with all this hype, but you kind of wonder how he's going to adjust to the NBA game. Could he get through 82 games and all that?
Zach?
I didn't look at it like he did. I more so looked at it because like a guy like Wiggins, a guy like Bridgewater, even a guy like Dumbo, we haven't seen a lot of them yet, so we don't know what their potential is. We don't know if what we're seeing now is them breaking through or if it's just kind of what we can expect.
Great point. So do you have a candidate that you'd like to toss out there?
I do have a candidate, and I tossed this back and forth with a couple different positions or with a couple different awards. My breakthrough athlete is Brian Dozier. In 86 games in last season, he had for 242 average, 57 extra base hits, 23 home runs, 71 RBI. This season, through 86 games, I did this last night, he's batting 260, 19 home runs, almost the same amount of extra base hits. So I kind of looked at him as what he's done so far and what is projected for him to do the rest of the season, and my nominee goes to the Twins second baseman Brian Dozier.
It's certainly a good nomination. The committee gave Brian Dozier a lot of consideration, but in the end, Dozier has shown enough the previous 2 years that his performance this year isn't differentiating enough from previous performances. The winner of the Best Breakthrough Athlete is Vikings cornerback Xavier Rhodes.
Interesting.
Thoughts on the winner?
First of all, I should be clear. Andrew Wiggins was my pick. I think I was openly speculating about who could make it there. But I guess you see the kind of the different definitions we had. I understand why Xavier Rhodes would be the pick here, just given that he established himself as kind of an elite cornerback. Probably proved more for the Vikings than Bridgewater did. I personally, again, think what Andrew Wiggins did was great, but I suppose it's a different deal going from one level to the next rather than kind of advancing within the professional ranks.
Our next award is the Best Comeback Athlete. The Best Comeback Athlete is one who has persevered over seemingly insurmountable obstacles, clawing their way back to the top of their field despite the odds that face them. Candidates for the Best Comeback Athlete will start.
I went with a guy who long stint in Minnesota, but I went with Devin Dubnyk. He was bounced around from team to team. I think he played for 3 teams in the last 2 seasons. Coming into this season, he had a record of 70, 82, and 24, an .899 save percentage, and allowing more than 3 goals a game. But in the time that he came over with Minnesota, he made the 39 consecutive starts, a 27-9-2 record with 5 shutouts, and very respectable .936 save percentage and allowing less than 2 goals a game. I gave my best comeback athlete to Devin Dubnyk.
Tom.
Yeah, unfortunately. First of all, should I just keep on saying 3 or 4 people for my answers?
Let's try to throw out a few and then maybe narrow it down.
No, I'm kidding. It was Devin Dubnyk.
Okay.
I can't even really think of another I mean, I'm sure you have someone good, but Devin Dubnyk, in my mind, the fact that when he got signed, people were like, Devin Dubnyk, okay, he's going to save the Wild season, but first round pick, as Zach has said, bounced around the league a little bit after washing out with Edmonton, and I think now signs a big contract and becomes the franchise goaltender for the Minnesota Wild.
And I think that a lot of people would probably agree with Dubnyk and will rip my selection. The only difference between my Wild-themed selection and your Wild-themed selection is that my choice played for the Wild the years previous to this, whereas Dubnyk was not a member of the Wild. So he's almost starting his career anew in Minnesota. And, yes, he came back from where he was elsewhere. But my selection is Mr. Jason Zucker.
Vanek back to Suter. Suter shot hit by Coyle but wide. Suter to Zucker. Score!
Zucker went from scoring the OT goal in 2013 against the Blackhawks, had a miserable 2014, only had 5 points, then comes back this year and in 51 games delivers 21 goals and 5 assists, was a huge X factor down the stretch. Your thoughts?
Go ahead.
No, yeah, I can live with it. I mean, I actually considered him as a breakthrough athlete because of kind of the struggles he had last season. But I can live with him as a comeback athlete.
Yeah, I think I like your line of thinking there, that he's actually a breakthrough athlete in that we kind of saw this potential for him to be an NHL player, kind of an NHL star. But he kept on kind of going back and forth, and I know Mike Yeo was criticized for that, but it seems like that was the right thing to do for his player development. But it's not as though he came back from like an injury or something like that. It was literally just he had to kind of break through and become an NHL star.
Honorable mention, Shabazz Muhammad, but he was hurt too long to earn the honor. Next category is the best upset. The best upset is always an emotional moment for fans and players alike. David versus Goliath. Nothing beats the feeling of coming from nowhere to knock off a favorite and stun the pundits who claimed you had no chance. Best upset of the year in Minnesota sports, Tom.
Well, I would say, again, I don't want to give multiple answers to these questions, but Gopher football versus Michigan, I'd say, because I saw it live and because it was like the second time in 24 years or whatever they beat them. But in the same vein, beating Nebraska would be kind of the similar mindset, though. So Gopher football would be your upset.
I threw my hands up because that's what I did, too. And I was like, I'm going to bring this in because I don't know if this is going to be the right pick for that. The Minnesota won the Little Brown Jug for the first time since 2005 and only the fourth time since 1967. So it's not a typical upset in the sense that Michigan was ranked the top 25 and, Michigan struggled last year, but it's more so Minnesota beating them for the fourth time since 1967. That's all in the upset that you can have.
The Michigan win and the Nebraska win both considered, but the Nebraska win emerges as the victor because it was the first win against a ranked opponent on the road in 14 years. It gave them a chance to win the Big Ten title, whereas Michigan turned out to be a garbage football team. Nebraska was still reputable.
I was there, and I think Michigan's quarterback got concussed, and they just kept on playing
it. And they kept playing it.
Yeah.
That was a huge controversy.
Yeah.
So the Gophers upset of Nebraska wins the best upset, and the final award of this segment, the best game. Buzzer beaters, last-second field goals, walk-off home runs. These are often the conclusions to some of the most memorable contests, the ones that come right down to the wire and showcase competition at its finest. Zach?
This one was an easy one for me, personally. You have to go way, way, way back to Friday night. The Twins over the Tigers. 7-run comeback in the 9th inning, capped off by Brian Dozier's walk-off home run. There hasn't been a comeback like that in recent years. 2010 is the last that comes to mind. The Minnesota Wild down to the Chicago Blackhawks 5-1 in the third. They score 4 goals to tie it and then win in a shootout. But other than that, you can't really think of a comeback like that, and I think that is deserving of best game. That's my nominee.
The band is getting really tired.
Yeah, we got to settle them down.
Tom?
No, you know what? I would agree. I actually created my answer before that game, but I could definitely see that as kind of the best game of the year. But I would say Kevin Garnett's return. And because I can't give it one answer to anything, Wiggins versus Cleveland. And again, it's kind of in the same vein. Like, they got the Target Center rocking again. You kind of felt like, hey, KG's back, and it breathed some life into the franchise. And Wiggins is the real deal, and he comes out, firing against LeBron, which he went toe-to-toe with LeBron really until the end. It was a loss, but it was kind of this feeling that, like, I remember asking Flip Saunders about this at the end of the year, and he said, look, when you're not, like, pumping in sound or anything, when it's an authentic, you can feel the crowd, and you could feel it that night. It was like, hey, the Wolves are back, and they're not going to be this crappy franchise anymore.
So what I'm gleaning here is, Tom, you are very experiential. When you experience big moments, you appreciate that versus the objective comeback, like the big
and that was a sweet moment,
statistically improbable comeback that the Twins had.
It was a sweet moment. It was a good end of the game. It was a terrible throughout.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
So where do you draw the line between good competition throughout and something that hasn't been done at the end in several years? The winner does go to the recent comeback by the Twins, the 7-run ninth inning on Friday.
The handoff is to Roderick.
That's the Gophers comeback.
It all works the same. It all works the same.
I mean,
There we go.
It's a 3-run homer for Yoenis Cespedes. And Martinez is gone.
Down 6-0.
Rosario hope to get something started here.
Here they come.
There you go. Hit to left. And that hits Suzuki. A run walks in from third base. Up the middle, a base hit.
Santana, huge knock.
Hicks right behind him. And it's 6-5. Brian Dozier, the batter. A drive to left field. Are you kidding me?
What a comeback by the Twins.
The best game of the 2014-15 year. Friday night, Twins and Tigers. Guys, we're not done. We're only halfway through the Minnesota Sports ESPYs. Coming up after the break, best play, best coach, best athlete, best team. We dole out those awards next on the Wake Up Call.
The Wake Up Call with Cold Omaha on Minnesota 105 The Ticket.